Emerging Opportunities 4 webinar series. Today I have two wonderful people with me, Tom Monahan and Doug Heiferman, and I'm going to tell you a bit about both of them. They're going to obviously be speaking through the day. For those of you who might not know Tom grew up as a carpet cleaner, just like many of us did. He's been in the industry over 40 years. He started out as a carpet cleaner, and as his business and personal interests evolved, he became he evolved into today what is Centrum Force Manufacturing, which is the leading manufacturer of rug cleaning equipment. We're going to be going through some of the equipment that Tom's company manufactures. He's got some great ideas, on everything from getting started on location all the way up to what a high volume rug plant looks like. And then also joining us today is Doug Heiferman, the Cobra, as many of us know him from social media. Doug and I go way back to we worked together a lot in the past, and it's great to be working with Doug again. If you have not ever been to a school by Doug Heiferman, then you are in for a treat, but I do want to warn you, he's just likely to do anything. That he's likely to strike at any time. That's one of the places he got his nickname, the Cobra. So Doug is an IICRC instructor. He operates DH seminars. These days he's doing mostly online training for private clients and for Aramco and for others. And as soon as things get back to some semblance of a new normal, he'll be back on the road teaching live classes. So welcome, guys. We're glad to have you aboard today.
Thank you so much. Glad to be here.
Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get us started. We have a PowerPoint that we're going to be sharing between the three of us. And one of the things I always like to warn our audience of is a couple of things to put your mind at ease. As you know, electronic technology is prone to sometimes having issues. If we have a major issue, such as the webinar completely freezes or something happens, there's a security breach, we'll just shut down and we'll start back up. So all you'd need to do is just log out and log back in at the original screening. The other thing I like to begin each one of these with is a discussion of what you're going to get after the webinar is all over, so you're not feeling the need to furiously take notes or do anything else. We are recording this webinar as we speak, so there will be a video made available to you of this webinar that you can go back to anytime, that you can show to your coworkers, your technicians, your friends. I'm sure you'll want to sit your children down instead of having them watch Frozen 2 and listen to us talk about rugs. But we have, you'll also get a PDF of all of the PowerPoints. So those will be coming your way, so don't feel a need to be writing notes. You'll be getting those down. And then you're going to be seeing some cleaning procedures, what we call the Cleaning Procedures Reference Guide. We'll be sending you a PDF of that also. And then at the very end today, we're going to introduce to you some new ads that we've developed at HydroMaster to help you promote rug cleaning to your customers, primarily in social media and in email. And we'll give you the link where you can go tomorrow to have those downloaded. But don't worry about all this, because we'll be sending you a follow-up email probably tomorrow that lets you know about all this stuff and keeps that in mind. The other thing I wanted to emphasize is that this is the fourth in a series of webinars we're doing. For those of you who may be joining us for the first time, if you go to hydromaster.com/emerging-opportunities, you will find a plethora of webinars, presentations, downloads, marketing materials, you name it. We have been putting this together since early March and trying to find ways to help our customers sell the concept of cleaning for health as we have gone through this COVID-19 pandemic. We think it's very important that cleaners understand that they are part of the solution to what we're all dealing with. So I introduced you to our presenters. There's where you can get hold of them. We'll repeat this at the end of our webinar today. So, and then here's the agenda. Here's all the things that we're going to try and cover in 90 minutes. So we're going to get rolling because we got a lot of material. So the first thing I wanted to do is just, if you're relatively new to the concept of adding on rug cleanings, and here's what I want you to do. Nobody's like measuring your temperature here or anything like that. So for a second, I want you to step back and be perfectly honest with yourself. If you're operating a cleaning or restoration business right now, think about, you know, most of you probably in your advertising, on your website, and in your media talk about doing rug cleaning, but how much rug cleaning do you really do? And that's, you know, and do you do it on location? Do you do it in plant? Do you even know what the difference is? Those kind of things. Because one of the reasons that we chose to have this webinar on rug cleaning, and that Tom and Doug were nice enough to volunteer to help us, is you can't ignore the trends. For those of you who've been attending a lot of the webinars, perhaps you sat in about a month and a half ago now, when Bill Yaden at John Don interviewed Jim Manis. Jim's a friend of many of ours in the cleaning business. Jim works for Shaw Industries, which is one of the world's largest floor covering manufacturers. And one of the things that he said that really caught my attention was that vinyl plank, luxury vinyl plank, was beginning to take more market share from carpeting. The sales of wall-to-wall installed carpet had stabilized. It wasn't going up, but between about 2014 and 2018, it had at least stabilized. And then more recently, because of the growth of vinyl plank, once again, carpet was losing market share. So you can't ignore this trend. Here's just some quick highlights from a research organization that talks about how rugs are going to continue their growth dominance over carpet. Another article from Floor Covering News about every time, something that we all know as cleaners, every time somebody puts down a hard surface floor, they generally put a rug on top of it at some point in the future. Another article from Floor Covering Weekly talking about how rugs are leading the way in floor covering growth. So they're outpacing everything in their growth. And then even a publication, a financial publication, talking about significant increases in sales of what we would call a high-end antique oriental rug. So, you know, we're going to be talking about, you know, store-bought rugs, and we're going to be talking about woven rugs today. Both fit in. And I think the other thing that really caught my attention in my research that Tom and Doug helped me with is understanding the prevalence of online rug retailers now and what's going in it, whether you're talking about Wayfair, Mohawk Home, Overstock, Magnolia, IKEA. I had no idea IKEA was selling as many rugs as they are. And most of these are going online. So a lot of them are synthetic rugs. They're machine woven. They're relatively easy to clean, but they're not always necessarily cheap. I think that sometimes we have a tendency to think of every rug that you buy at Home Depot or Lowe's or IKEA as being cheap, but that's not the case. I mean, some of these 16 by 20 rugs cost up to $2,000 to $2,500, even though they're 100% synthetic. So Tom, Doug, help us out. What's really happening out there from the online retailers and rugs?
You want to take that one, Tom?
Go ahead, start us out, Doug.
Sure. Well, you know, today with the recent times and the changes, I mean, we have to create our own positive moments in life. So even the rug retailers are moving in that direction. We can't stop. We have to be able to move forward and run our business. So just like people kind of fought online training a little bit, we have to embrace that, and the retailers are doing the same thing, and they're moving forward aggressively on the internet with rug sales throughout the market, all different kinds of rugs.
Tom, are you seeing more of these online rugs being brought into your shop and your customers?
Well, it's a matter of price point sometimes because a lot of these rugs, as you described their construction, can be made very rapidly, very economically, therefore sold economically. Not talking about the high-end so-called rugs that you were referring to that were still synthetic. So the customer complaint would be perhaps, how do I get this cleaned at the price point that in-plant cleaners are charging when I can just go out and get another one? So there's a little marketing battle there. If we want to be able to service those rugs, we have to think intentionally about their mindset on that matter too.
That is a great segue, Tom, because that's one of the things that we're going to talk about later that I want to emphasize to all of our attendees that are watching live today and everyone listening to this video. This is one of the things that we want to address because the proliferation of these rugs is large enough that is one of the issues, is that it very often the prices that in-plant rug cleaners will need to charge to clean these rugs exceeds what the customer paid for them. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and what that means in terms of different things. So let's get back. I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint and let's keep rolling on the information that we want to make sure we get covered today. A couple of things that I wanted to share with anyone. If you go online and just do a little research on rug cleaning or rugs and the types of soils and bacteria that are held within them. This is from Men's Health magazine. It says your rug contains about 200,000 bacteria per square inch, making it 4,000 times dirtier than your toilet seat. Rugs are botanical and zoological parks. Now, this comes from a gentleman from the University of Arizona whose research I've been running into a lot, named Anthony Gerba, and another gentleman named Jay Tierno. But this is in this article from Men's Health magazine. If you look down at the bottom of the page, when asked how to deal with this, hire a company to do a deep steam cleaning at least once a year. So that's the kind of things that we do like to state. But we know that if carpets hold on to soil, bacteria, and viruses, then obviously rugs do too. And this one comes from Oprah.com. So we know it has to be factual, right? So the average carpet, it talks about, this is from Philip Tierno, has a book called The Secret Life of Germs. I actually ordered that. It's not here yet because I want to read more about it, because he talks a lot about germs on floors in that book. And it says, you know, that the vacuum can't get rid of the bacteria that's down within these rugs. So most carpet manufacturers say the best way to deep clean is to use hot water extraction every 18 months. So just like we know with carpets, we know with rugs that dealing with them and how properly cleaning is the right way to go. Now, Doug's going to talk to you more in just a minute about cleaning for health deeply, but I always like to pause for a moment here and pay tribute to our friend Dr. Michael Berry. Dr. Berry was involved in the carpet cleaning industry for only over 25 years, but he was with the United States Environmental Protection Agency for a great deal of that time. And in 2017, he's retired now, but he did an article for the Journal of Cleaning, Restoration, and Inspection where he summarized carpet cleaning and how important it was. And I just want you to focus in for a quick second on the middle sentence in this. He says, most people clean carpets when they look dirty. Rarely does anyone recognize that their carpet needs to be cleaned for health protection. Yet every time pollutants are extracted from the carpeting, the quality of the indoor environment is enhanced by reducing exposures. And he goes on in the article to talk about the different studies that were done over the years and to show the effect of a deep cleaning on the reduction of bacteria, viruses, and other types of unwanted matter in carpet. Now, in his article, he defines deep cleaning. And one of the things that I want you to think about here, Tom is going to help us understand a little bit more about wash pits and washing drums that are used in rug cleaning. That certainly qualifies for his thought process here, because one of the things that Dr. Berry loved about truck mounts is the amount of water that was flowing through the carpet to flush out soil and contaminants. And that certainly plays into what we're going to talk about when we're talking about rug cleaning too. And then Doug's going to talk to you a little bit more about heat. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. And obviously, we can't do a webinar right now and ignore the fact that we're still dealing with a crisis in the world. But the United States seems to be not gaining a lot of traction in its battle against the coronavirus. But we know from what the scientists at the Cleaning Industry Research Institute have told us that COVID-19 or the coronavirus has a lipid envelope, and it's rendered inactive. It's very susceptible to inactivation by detergents. So we know that the first step in attacking and dealing with this, because obviously this virus is not going away immediately. There's not a vaccine in our immediate future. And I think people are just going to have to come to grips with the fact that deep cleaning is going to be with us on a more frequent basis for the foreseeable future. And that certainly applies to rugs. So Doug, I'm going to turn it over to you now. And let me stop sharing my screen, and you can share with the group. Let's get a little bit deeper into the kinds of rugs that are out there, and how do you know what's safe to clean on location and what you should always take to a rug shop. So lead us away, Doug.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. I'd like to welcome everybody today, and I'm honored to be here. Welcome to all our friends from Australia, New Zealand, London, and around the world. In today's environment, my friends, every day we have a great opportunity to improve, both personally and professionally, create our own positive moments. And today, you can see my excitement level is a little high, and I plan on shining and creating our own positive moments. How's the PowerPoint look? It's up and ready to roll, right, Doyle?
Yes,
Okay.
It looks great, Doug.
Okay, thank you
You're ready
very
to rock.
Thank you, sir. So rug cleaning is a service and how it fits into the deep cleaning revolution. We're going to look at selling rug cleaning to create a healthier indoor environment, which rugs to avoid cleaning on location, and examples of rugs in their role as an investment quality textile. And I took on about an hour's worth of material in 25 minutes, so I'm going to aggressively approach that and move forward. Warning, my friends, warning, this is Running River Rug Cleaning, one of the businesses that I developed with my family. That's a multi-filtration pit that I invented with UV light and multi-charcoal filtration out in the Hamptons in Long Island, New York. And we specialized in very high-end rugs, as you can see, laying in the pit. And those are called investment quality textiles. So rug life is very exciting, but be careful, because it is very, very addictive. A great honor. When John Lennon, the John Lennon, needed his 18 by 24 Saruk cleaned from the Dakota building in New York, they looked throughout the United States, and a great honor, as you can imagine, to clean that rug. And after submerging cleaning of John Lennon's rug, we had to lift it out of the pit with a forklift. So our experience with COVID-19 has placed a new focus on cleaning, my friends. People are concerned with having trained certified professionals that know how to manage the entire indoor environment. IICRC certified professionals understand the importance of cleaning, focusing on source removal, employing cleaning technologies that demonstrate efficacy in removing and limiting indoor environmental contaminants. And much respect to Dr. Michael Berry, At the IICRC, we had excellent training because Dr. Michael Berry, Eugene Cole used to come in and train us all the time. So I am also a student of Dr. Michael Berry. Potential clients will see companies that demonstrate knowledge and specialized certifications to help them maintain a clean, safe, and healthy environment. Oh my goodness, my friends, investment quality, 100-year-old Mayhull that I had the honor to clean from Running River. It took me 4 months and a background investigation to get on this gentleman's estate to get his 15 rugs. And you might want to look up the book, The Rules of Civility. And that's all I'm going to tell you for now. But this gentleman is a serious heavy hitter and has a collection of rugs you would not believe. Area rugs play a vital role when decorating, increasing exponentially, and complement all the hard surface floors in today's market. So in today's decorating market, consumers often choose area rugs now over wall-to-wall carpet. Look at the versatility. Place the rug anywhere you like. Change the location of the rug. When you move, you take the rug with you. You know, today, wall-to-wall carpet is very nice, but it's very permanent. Changing the decor today is popular. No better way to add panache, sophistication to a room than a quality, hand-knotted work of art. Out in Utah with my students, and much respect to all my students, education, my friends, a lifelong journey. Today, consumers have so many different options to care for their rugs. Depending on the fiber, rug construction, soil age, dye stability, other variables, many rugs can be successfully cleaned in the home. Pre-inspection skills, education, and experience can't be stressed enough. August 13th, join Tom Monahan and myself in Detroit for a one-day adventure on the wash floor. You'll remember, my friends. Investment quality rugs, hand-knotted woven art, in addition to exotic fibers, should be handled in plant by, rug specialists. Oh my goodness, anybody wants to visit me in New York, I'll take you to the famous Nazmial Gallery. That is me with a private invitation to work with Jason Nazmial in New York City, where you need a private invitation to his gallery. He sells the best rugs in the world and an honor you wouldn't believe. So replacement of area rugs really isn't difficult as long as they're not antique quality. And Jason Nazmial, a very humble man, one of the most knowledgeable in the entire world. Oh my goodness, the top left rug is a needlepoint. That's called a King Casa needlepoint. Mr. Powers was the richest wine broker in the United States who lived in the Hamptons. He passed away. Much respect to Mr. Powers. Well, his wife couldn't find anybody to help her lift all these gigantic rugs out of the basement. We rode over there for free to help her, and she gave us about $10,000 worth of work. Her and her husband went to Portugal, picked the wool, picked the colors, picked the dyes. One of a kind, King Casa, needlepoint from Portugal. The bottom rug, exotic, tree of life, maybe 90 to 100 years old, Persian. Rugs are a great choice for today's home. Variety of styles and designs at reasonable cost to one-of-a-kind works of art. Wall-to-wall carpet, again, I enjoy, but area rugs have a uniqueness all of their own. That is Running River Rug Cleaning out in the Hamptons in Long Island. I developed that business. We cleaned about 60 to 70 rugs a week. Today, exotic and hand-woven treasures can be removed from the home and deep cleaned for health by implant rug specialists. Surface cleaning investment quality rugs in the home will lead to trouble, my friends. Important to dust, wash, rinse, and dry hand-knotted rugs. That involves extensive education, combined with specialized equipment and chemistry, and my good friend Tom Monahan will get involved with that. top picture on the left, I was teaching a class out in New Hampshire, and there was a young man, you can kind of see him off to the left cleaning, and I couldn't help myself. In my suit and tie, I jumped in the pit and finished off that 90-line Chinese rug for the young man. So deep cleaning of the indoor environment must be performed on a regular basis. There are no magic sprays, my friend. You just can't go in and spray things. For proper cleaning efficacy, source removal is the key, my friends. Hand cleaning. Disinfectants are made to be applied to pre-cleaned surfaces. Another beauty washed at Running River. Deep cleaning, my friends, designed to limit. You cannot kill something that's not alive. A virus is not alive, my friends, until it enters your body. So the best we can do is limit, manage, control, disable contaminants in the indoor environment, and that reduces the risk of becoming ill, and that takes consistent cleaning. So I do an extensive webinar if you're interested on positioning your company for future success. I've positioned many franchises also. Clients will seek out certified professionals who deliver the proper message. Cleaning for health is more necessary than ever to help maintain our quality of life, to make people feel safe and secure in their home and business. COVID-19, deep cleaning. I was honored to do a lot of COVID work in New York City. I've had diabetes for 35 years. I can't sit back and wait when people need help. I was honored to go and help. I have a strong background in infection control, hospitals, school districts, daycare. Thorough, effective cleaning, concentrating on source removal is what I believe in. And my background from infection control, ICRA training, HAZWOPER, GBAC. I'm the type of individual, my friends, that believe in limiting chemical application. Green cleaning over chemical applications is what it takes to manage the indoor environment. I mean, how many chemicals can we run around and spray without proper source removal? Green cleaning focuses on minimizing contaminants, using safer, healthier cleaning methodologies, more hand cleaning and less spraying. And again, disinfectants are designed to be applied, and that's the best we can do is apply and be careful with unsubstantiated medical claims on killing things. Deep cleaning with elevated temperatures. And Doyle hit on this for a few minutes. Studies prove elevated cleaning temperatures combined with quality detergents have a sanitizing effect on textiles. Read the latest CDC information. They actually suggest that you hire professionals well-trained in source removal, efficacy with proper detergents, high flow equipment, high heat, and that will avoid the need for invasive chemical application in cleaning a home. And this is what people are looking for: less spraying and better cleaning. You need to review your safety protocols. If you really want to learn how to do it, I didn't have enough time today, but you contact me, I'll help you anytime, and I'll teach you how to use a health questionnaire to keep you and your customers and yourselves out of trouble. So when they call you for an appointment, I'll give you the health questionnaire, and that'll let you know if you're running into a COVID atmosphere where you're basically doing decon work, or is it a job where deep cleaning could be handled? And you really can't figure that out without the use of a health questionnaire, and that comes from my ICRA training. Review your cleaning protocol. Yes, I wear masks, gloves, shoe covers. I practice social distancing. Yes, I'll pick up rugs in the garage or off the porch. Our equipment has to be cleaned and sanitized. Remember not to guarantee to kill. We reduce, we control to safer levels through proper cleaning and application of sanitizers, which is only one part of an overall concept to keep the indoor environment clean and healthy. To help ensure the safety of our clients against COVID-19, we could help manage your indoor environment from a health perspective. There are no chemical applications to kill COVID-19. We're going to work on it consistently, minimize the viral load. And that's what I really think that people don't understand about the mask. And it's okay, because everybody has their own understanding, but we want to stop larger droplets. And you take a diabetic like me, if I could stop 1 or 2 particles, that reduces the viral load and may not only save me, but may save others that I may come in contact with. So I have to keep other people in mind, but I understand the controversy of the mask. Rugs to avoid cleaning on location. I'm going to have to pick it up a little bit now. Pre-inspection is critical, my friends, to avoid problems. This is a hand-tufted rug. Remember, there are high-quality hand-tufted rugs. I've cleaned many hand-tufted rugs by Taipei, companies like that out of China. A hand-tufted rug is really a copy of a hand-knotted rug. Be aware, though, you'll run into high-quality rugs. Certain mass-produced hand-tufted rugs, respectfully, some are not made well. Marble dust may be added to the latex, creating several issues. When rugs are wet cleaned, you could develop odors from different types of latex that come out of different countries. Yarns are punched through a fabric sheet using a hand tufting gun. A second fabric is glued to the back to hold the yarns on. These rugs are not as durable and valuable as true hand-knotted rugs, which may be made on a loom by a weaver. They are often made of wool. Latex can give off a petroleum odor. The degraded latex after wetting and slow drying can cling to the fibers, changing color and visual appearance. If you could tell, my friends, the Cobra always takes on the technical information. Stenciling or ink bleeding on tufted rugs. A tufted rug is almost like a paint by number in the back. And when wet cleaning tufted rugs, overwetting and slow drying, especially in the home, lead to stencil bleed. If you look at this picture, you can see around the purple, you can see slight blue, and that's ink bleeding from where they mark the tufts to be placed. Wool rugs need a wool rugs need a controlled in-plant environment to avoid cleaning challenges that can't be properly addressed in the home. In addition to odors, the backing will separate from the deteriorating glue. Color loss and dye bleed will be a major concern on tufted rugs made with wool fiber. Tufted rugs that have heavy staining or odor are best handled off-site in plant, where they deal with these situations every day, all day. Viscose rugs. I'm hitting as much as I can in my amount of time. Cut me off whenever I have to, Doyle. Viscose rugs have become very popular. People either love viscose rugs or hate viscose rugs. They're here to stay, my friends. You can't run away from trouble. We need to face things head on, and education is what limits risk. Viscose does not only—
Doug, you're doing great. You're doing great. You got plenty of time.
Okay. I just want to give all the people that took their valuable time the best I got.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, one question though, Doug. When you're talking about the difference between a rug that you clean on location and in plant, you talked about wool. Is the best way to do that in the home to decide whether it's synthetic or wool is the old burn test, right? Same thing we do with carpet.
Yeah,
or is there a better way for rugs?
No, that's correct. But the situation is that even when I teach class, probably and not being judgmental, but probably the weakest part of an individual's game could be pre-inspection skills. Not looking at the back of the rug, not doing fiber identification, not doing dye testing, coming into carpet cleaning, spraying the whole rug. I mean, look at what the customer thinks. It's that easy. We have to do pre-inspection. We have to look at pH. We have to do fiber identification. We have to show clients that we shine and we have credibility in what we do through education and certification.
Thank you. I appreciate it, because I think one of the things that people have a tendency to do is think that there's some magical way to determine what these rugs are, but it's the same information that, like you said, you can begin to understand what a lot of them look like but still you want to do a pre-inspection because there's a lot of rugs that are designed to look like they're a lot more expensive than they really are. But let's get back to viscose because I know that's a big, huge topic in the rug world. It's a good one to have a steel cage match about too, because there's a lot of disagreement.
You know, even when COVID-19 hit, my friends, just from my own position, never take a back seat in life. When trouble strikes, you need to strike back and move forward. I was on the road for 48 weeks a year, making a very good living, and then all of a sudden I had no job. I immediately adjusted myself, bought equipment, trained. I knew nothing about the Zoom platform. Thank goodness. Let me just thank my wife and my daughter a second. Mary, thank you so much. Erin, my little attorney. Without them, I'm just the front man. I got a staff behind me that you wouldn't believe, my friends. Viscose rugs, run to them, not away from them. Performance and wearability are big concerns in the traffic areas. Durability, cleanability, and fiber retention are lacking. No comparison to wool or silk. Majority of all manufacturers recommend dry cleaning. There are different grades of viscose. And as viscose emerges, because you can buy a nice viscose, rug that doesn't go in an area that's used a lot, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, where a silk rug would be 10, 15, 20,000. So a lot of people do like silk rugs because, viscose mimics silk. Important consideration before you try and clean viscose rayon in a client's home: shrinkage, dye bleed, discoloration, texture changes, cellulosic browning, and staining are all a good possibility. You can't clean an exotic fiber in a house and cross your fingers and leave it wet and walk away and hope good things happen. Doesn't work like that. Fancy names for fake silk: viscose, art silk, bamboo silk, rayon. And you know what? You're gonna need, someone once said to me, Doug, and I don't know a lot about rugs, by the way. I'll show you people that, Tom Monahan, a humble man on here, is a master rug cleaner, 40, 50 years experience. I do the best I can, and I continue to learn, work in progress, but you could study rugs for the rest of your life and not know everything there is to know about woven art. Viscose is really wood pulp and cellulose. It's a weak fiber, prone to texture changes and poor reactions when cleaning with water. In-plant cleaners are trained and have the experience to clean, limiting potential problems. Definitely a problematic fiber to handle on location. I'm warning you. Sisal rugs from the leaves of the agave plant. It's a coarse fiber. If you've never used absorbent compound or low moisture dry cleaning, everyone always says to me, Doug, which, method is the best? That has nothing to do with it. Which method is the best has to do with the rug, the construction, the soil, how it's made, the dye stability. Are you cleaning it on-site, off-site? There are many considerations to take. But when you clean in a home, you see, I'll clean in a home and leave air movers, dehumidifiers. I'll do many off the spectrum things that sometimes we don't think about when cleaning, more difficult rugs in the home. Cellulosic browning, color loss may be apparent after wet cleaning. Many have deteriorating latex backings that further exacerbate cleaning. Related issues on location. Similar look-alike fibers. You have core from the coconut husk. You have seagrass. They're cellulosic exotic fibers best handled in plant. Woof, here we go. Here we go. Hand knotted investment quality, handmade rugs. Wow. This rug on the picture here is from Bergamo. And my specialty, and when you work in the rug world and you have a passion for rugs, there's so many different rugs, you usually wind up like focusing on one kind, almost like cars or motorcycles or things like that. So Turkish tribal rugs are my thing. And Tom and Doyle talked about that earlier. They're nomadic people. They travel. Rugs tell a story. Hand-knotted rugs take special cleaning. The process involves dusting to remove embedded soil. You know, watch cleaning these rugs in the home. There's a lot of dust, broken fibers, and contamination in the foundation of the rug. You could wet the rug. It'll take a long time to dry. Believe it or not, you may dry rot the client's expensive hand-woven rug. The rug on the picture is you know what? If I ruin John Lennon's rug, it has nothing to do with insurance or anything. You got to get out of town. Your reputation is done, okay? The process, so climate controlled. When you have rugs like this, you need a climate controlled facility. We have heated dry rooms, extensive knowledge and experience concerning rug construction, pre-inspection skills, dye management are necessary to clean hand-knotted rugs properly, also from a health perspective and to avoid damage. Today's presentation is dedicated to my good friend, Magnus. Magnus was well known as the world's greatest rug dog. He passed away. I actually got him right here with me in this box, my good friend. And those rugs that he's standing on were a gift from the DeMurci family in Konya, who's been selling rugs for over 100 years. And the picture under Magnus is a Bergamo split weave kiln. Those are all natural dyes, hand spun wool, my friend. Magnus's collection exceeded 50 rugs, all tribal, vintage. I enjoy older tribal rugs. I like newer rugs, and every rug has its beauty, but not like a vintage or a nomadic tribal rug. Oh my goodness. My prayer rug from Bergamo. Tribal rugs are passed down through generations. These are works of art, my friend. There's only one. So these are what's called woven treasures, and they're unique to history. A culture that reflects the struggles and beauty that inspires hand-woven art. ICAT weaving, my friends. ICAT, the term means to bind. Dyeing technique. Patterns are dyed before weaving. Ancient technique. Woven art is a diary of the weaver's personal and cultural experience where quality is never sacrificed. Oh boy. These are actually from Bulgaria before a lot of the Turkish moved. Those are Manister kilns. Those are worth several $1,000s a piece. I had 4 of them. I actually sold one to Warren Wallace, who has it in his rug shop on the wall. But I want to talk about what commercial manufacturing and how it changed the rug world. And then I'm going to finish up and give my colleagues a chance. One thing is always constant in life, my friends, and that's change. 1940, nomadic tribes began being influenced by a growing commercial market. Results were speed. Tom mentioned it a little bit. Production quotas all took precedent over detail and quality. Commercialism, the beautiful hand-spun wool changed to lower quality coarse woven wool. Chemical dyes now replace beautiful natural dyes. Attention to finite details and weaving techniques suffered from the influence of commercialism. That is Magnus. You will not see another Dulce Melty in that condition. Those are all natural dyes. I had the rug, I brought the rug in from the DeMurci family. It's debatable on the age. You know, rug dating is very interesting. People say it's 80 years old. I don't think so. I think the rug is about 50 years old, but I'm again, I have the passion for rugs, but I would not consider myself an identification expert. Antique woven art focused on every detail. Look at the beauty of that rug. How old are antique rugs? Old woven art, antique, minimum 80 years old. Rugs up to about 1940. And again, these are some of my personal opinions. From 1940 to 1960, semi-antique. 1950 to 1970, vintage rugs. And you know what? In our world, like when you say you got an old 40-year-old rug, That's like a new rug. Oh ho ho, tribal Afghan Sissom out of my personal collection. Antique is much more than age, my friend. Woven art has great design features, great depth, weaving technique of the highest quality materials. Cultural authenticity can't be found in mass-produced rugs made by machine. Rugs made before 1925 are very, very special. Their uniqueness and numbers only decrease. And again, man-made materials and synthetic dyes. Now the top two rugs are wool, but the small one that you see, like the black dyes and the orange, those are synthetic dyes. That's still a beautiful rug. It's a 1950 Yuntag out of Turkey. If you look at the other rug with all the different yellow and reds, that's actually a Turkish Kayseri with synthetic dyes. And, you know, in the rug world, there could be judgmental aspects where if the rug doesn't have natural dyes and things like that, certain, you know, they're not respected. You know, I really don't believe in that. These are still beautiful rugs. But again, you could see the bottom rug and you could see that, you know, synthetic dyes. And after a long time looking at a rug, you will know about the dyes. People say, how do you know? I'd say after you look at a couple of thousand rugs and you have a few years experience, you'll see the natural dyes create great depth and warmth, rich tones and shading. Characteristics was a major characteristic which separated these rugs as works of art. Mechanizing the wool process. I don't know if you could see the gentleman's picture on the top, but that is Mehmet Abuska. Mehmet Abuska ran the level 4 dye house in Istanbul. He was world renowned as one of the top dye experts in the world. And of course, he passed away at a pretty young age because a lot of chemicals and things like that, they weren't too cautious. And shout out to Manfred Bieber, one of the top dyers in the world, that's a friend of Mehmet. And he sent me the book about hand weaving in Morocco. And the bottom machine is what happens when mechanization comes into the world. Hand spun wool was so fine and unique. Special reflective properties of the beautiful hand spun wool was slowly being replaced by commercial methods. Quality of wool and color fastness has a lot to do with the chemical process of fermentation, which many, you know, Tom and I discussed fermentation. This is a fine art unto itself, which gives rugs unique color fastness. Many of the master dyers and many of the great people in the rug world are no longer with us. I do the best I can to pass on, you know, this great art to the younger generation. Unfortunately.
Hey, Doug, can I interrupt for a second?
Yes, sir.
And Tom can chime on this. We have a question from our audience that I think plays into, we're going to talk, we have a couple questions on viscose, which I knew we'd get. We'll talk about that more in a minute, but I thought this was a really good question from people who are relatively new to this. And then the question is, do area rugs always go up in value with age? Or are we only talking about what you were talking about, 1920 and prior antique rugs go up in value? In other words, just because a rug is old, does that mean it's going up in value?
No.
Tom, you might want to jump in on that too.
No.
Tom, let me let you take that because I've said a lot. Go ahead.
The one word answer, right?
That's it. No.
No.
And so it begs the question, what increases the value of a rug that might be old? So the market determines that. If something is considered a collectible, nice, rare, I mean, we have Navajo blankets that aren't as old as some of the woven rugs from Iran or Turkey, but they'll sell for way more money, and they're just small. So that's what steers the value, the market.
But can we safely say a synthetic commercial woven rug is not going to go up in value just because it gets older generally, correct?
Correct.
It's going to go in the trash can at some point, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You also have to remember who made the rug.
Yep.
You know, there's very famous families that have made rugs, like Tom said, for generations. So who made the rug? Where did it come from? What type of dyes? Was it Mema Abuska that did the dyes? I mean, it gets complicated, and it's a fun business.
All right, Doug, you want to wrap it up, and then we'll let Tom teach us about all this equipment that's out there.
Okay, so mechanized wool process, this is a fine art unto itself. Many of the master dyes are no longer with us, and unfortunately, with changing times and mechanization, these hand trades are not often passed on to other generations. Pictures from Pakistan, from my friends in Pakistan, hand spun wool, very unique. Old styles and weaving techniques have diminished over time. Older antique woven art are investment quality and one of a kind. And thank you so much.
Thank you, Doug, very much. Tom, why don't you take over the screen and put up your PowerPoint, and then we'll get back to the main PowerPoint when you're finished. But go ahead, Tom.
Well, I want to thank Doyle for allowing me to come on. Doug, nice presentation.
Yes, absolutely.
All the folks that are listening in. I'm not really going to be talking about equipment per se. Let me just start out with a conversation I had with Doyle just the other day. I asked who the audience was going to be, and quite a few of you online, I suspect, are carpet cleaners. And I just wanted to connect with you for a minute, because that's how I started out in the business in 1977. I started out as a carpet cleaner. And I jumped right in with a truck mount because I thought that was the best way to do it, except I jumped in November of 1977. The Yellow Pages were already closed. Some of you don't even know what Yellow Pages are. And so I had to go door to door, literally. I went through the white pages, called people up and offered them specials, and a lot of shoe leather marketing to the commercial. So what I did is I picked up some apartments like a lot of people do when they first start out in business. Make a long story short, carpet cleaning led into upholstery cleaning because it was there. And then water damage restoration because that was a need. And then later on, it was rug cleaning. Although I was cleaning rugs, I got more serious about it later on. So I suspect for many of you that has been a path that's been similar. I'm going to talk kind of like that to try to be relatable, because that is my life experience. And so I want to just kind of let you know about that before I got started. Now I'll share the screen. You got to remind me. There we go, the little green button. Okay, so the question is, are you going to really take the leap? Rugs are on the increase. Doyle proved that point. We talked about some of the rugs that are in people's homes that are scary. We'll touch on that just a bit. But the main thing is, why would you do it? Perhaps you're motivated because you're walking over the rugs to go clean furniture. You're walking over the rugs to clean a wall-to-wall carpet in somebody's back bedroom, or you're rolling up the rugs and cleaning the tile and grout. So the question is, why leave money on the floor? And what's it going to take so that you can be a professional, or at least steer your way through it? So we're going to talk about the bridge to building a cleaning business. And we're going to consider possible things you do on location, and then the in-plant or off-site consideration. So how are you going to get started without breaking the bank? Where will you set up your operation? Are you going to strategically align yourself with another rug plant cleaner? That's a great idea. We're not going to talk much about that today, but that's one thing to consider. or is it going to be at your own place where you run your business now? What rugs should you avoid cleaning on location? Well, Doug talked a lot about that, so we're not going to spend a lot of time on that. We'll touch on it. And then for entertainment, we're going to look at what does a high volume operation look like. So if some of you are visionaries and dreamers, we'll get into that. But the bottom line is, what will be your overall commitment? Are you going to just be someone that occasionally cleans rugs? Or will this be what might we call a side hustle or a new business? Or do you intend on doing it full time? Are you going to make it a real business that generates a revenue stream for yourself and your family? So the first thing you got to do is consider these matters. Be intentional about your planning. And there are going to be some considerations. Let's go over these considerations. First thing, the space, if you're doing it off-site, is it suitable for the venture? The volume of work you have currently, is that going to be, does that justify having an off-site space? Or do you have a plan for what's going to happen in the next year or 3 years? What is your present skill set and education? This is so vital. And do you have some funds for this venture or this dream of yours? Some capital funds dedicated, or are you going to have to borrow some money to realize it? And then I want to underscore this last point. You got to have an intentional plan to do two things: market the business and to process the rugs. But before you do anything, get educated. Doug hammered that pretty good, and it's important because if you're going to be in the rug washing business, you're going to be expected to be in the rug repair business. Why? Partly because you got to fix your own mistakes. But importantly, you got to care for your client's needs. Wash and repair requires specialized education. And as you can see here, Centrum Force has sponsored some of these educations called Rug Summits. There's a whole bunch of industry leaders out there that specialize in educating. Doug and I put on a workshop, and he mentioned that was intended to be for August 13th. Here you see carefully looking at rug construction. And then in this case, Dr. Sobey presented some very specialized education in the realm of collectible rugs, so we enjoyed. These things are available to you. Understanding rug construction. You can outsource these rug construction needs or repair needs, but it's knowing about what you need to know so that you know how to recommend it to somebody else to be done. And finally, take advantage of all the education that's available. It is not something that you will learn in a moment of time or weeks or months. It's, I think Doug said it, it's a lifetime journey. So let's talk a little bit about rug basics. We said knowing rug construction is key to washing because it's a daunting undertaking to get into a business that can overwhelm you in a minute. So education is important. We talked about that. Now there's some intentional things that we need to think about with regard to how work should flow if you took your business to the level of providing rug processing and care. The first thing you have to consider is taking in that rug. It becomes under your custody and control. So you got to have a process for that. Next, you got to do something to the rug that it vitally needs, and that's get all the dry particulates out of it, or called dusting in the industry. Then you naturally go to the washing phase of it. Then you got to rinse it. Then you got to dry it. And then there's a process of finishing and grooming it. Then either you're going to store it for a moment and then deliver it. I want you to go through those 7 points and realize I don't care if you're doing it at a person's home or off-site. These steps have to kind of go in sync like this. Now, going to be doing a little reality check with most of you. I had to do it with myself when I was evolving through my business. There's something called a standard of care. It's a reality check. You can wash in a driveway or a makeshift pit in your garage, but how will you care and maneuver around everything else you have in there? It could be problematic. If you have trucks, you have motorcycles, you store boats, you have lawn
Tom, where'd you get that picture of my garage?
You got truck mounts, you got portables, you got air movers. The point of the matter is, if you think you're going to take it to the next level, you got to intentionally have a plan and work that out. Now, the juggling required to shoehorn your occasional rug processing operation is a time-consuming setup and breakdown if you have a garage that's cluttered and if that's where you were going to do it. And when you analyze doing that, your charge to the customer for the item that you just washed was eaten up before you even finished the job, because you moved and then you had to replace all those things, and that's your time. So people say to me, I get calls up all the time, well, just tell me what the basic setup would be. Tell me what that would be. The answer to that question is so subjective. One needs to go back and review those 5 areas that we had listed before that we need to consider in planning for the vision. And then you couple that with the 7 stages of processing, rug processing, that are required to incorporate into a shop setup. Now, this is going to be true whether it's in your own driveway, 1-car garage or carport, or all the way up to a 20,000 square foot building. Now, if you've rethought this out and now you've decided to get a building to accommodate your vision, the venture of off rug washing now it becomes a dream and you're planning in that direction. What about your building? What does it look like? Well, does it have adequate water supply for the use to satisfy that vision of rug washing? Does it have sewer lines that are adequate? Do you have city, or are you going to be reliant on septic system? Are they strategically located in your building for proper accessibility to floor drainage? The third thing, do you have an electrical panel that's sized to accommodate the powered equipment that you're going to need or need in a year from now or 3 years from now? 3-phase 220, or is it single phase? How big's your service? What about natural gas, or do you have propane? Is it going to accommodate a heating system to efficiently dry your rugs? As we mentioned before, cleaning for health, a part of that is drying a rug with hot heat, and it gives you good health. It gives good health to that rug. And then finally, the height of your ceiling. So those are preliminary considerations. More would have to be investigated to make a good, sound decision about what equipment operations you're going to have. We all know a bucket and brush can do a great thing, and a garden hose, but stepping up to a dedicated space, installing equipment is another thing. So let's talk about a little bit about reality here. Here's my own place. So when I say I've kind of stepped through things, that's my driveway. It happens to be sloped, and there's a drain right there. So I've washed rugs in that driveway, and I use the heat by putting them over poles, and that was my drying system. It doesn't work well all the time in Michigan, by the way, where the weather can change every 20 minutes. So just stop and think about that. But you got to ask yourself, are you going to be a driveway hobbyist, or is it just a side hustle? Well, maybe this is all you need, and maybe that would be just fine. But you still need education. Or maybe you're going to take a garage and convert it. It's a friend of mine, a colleague in the rug washing business in Texas. So he's using his driveway. He's using his garage. He's washing down his rugs. He's got things neatly around. He's got a dusting mechanism out in his carport that happens to be a tumble duster. So that's another way to think about your plan. And he is stepping through a process himself that might eventuate into something a little bit bigger. How about an industrial warehouse? This is a colleague of mine, a friend, a carpet cleaner up in Michigan. He parks his trucks in a warehouse. He's dedicated space for that, and he's dedicated space for his cleaning operations in the corner of the warehouse. Nicely laid out. There's a Aragon centrifuge rug wringer, something that we as Centrum Force brought into the country and represent. He's got a nice little wash pit, a little Wolverine strap duster there, and you can see along the wall, he's got some rug hanging things. Not very elaborate, but he's intentionally planning and sizing up what he wants to do that's manageable based with his education. My favorite was my pole barn in my backyard. Some of you, Doug, you've been there back in the old days. You come down that driveway where I showed you where the drain was, you walk inside the service door, and I had a dusting area in the middle. I had a wash pit, decontamination as I called it. I actually had a sign on the wall that said that. I had a wash tub, Centrum Force wash tub, a centrifuge, and I had a drying rack there as well as places to store my rugs. This was a pole barn, 30 by 40 foot, and I parked my truck in there at night. Man, it was tight, but you could do a couple $100,000 worth of rugs in that little space when you mechanized and had the game plan down with those 7 things that I mentioned earlier. So I'm not telling you something that couldn't be done. I actually lived through it. And now we move from that place to this place. And this will give you a little idea. So that's a place where Doug and I actually do our workshops now. It's in Wayne, Michigan, just 10 minutes from Detroit Airport, just up the road. But you can see the progression of a side offsite in your driveway, garage, carport, a pole barn, a dedicated building. But would you like to see something that even could go further if you desired? And some have. What would that be? Where does your dream take you? How about this place? Robert Mann's Rugs. That's a full-blown, high-volume facility, but not the highest volume, and a complete repair place where you can strategically align yourself with this company to get all your rug repairs done by them. You don't even have to have someone in-house. And specialty rugs or problem rugs that you can't handle yourself, you can as well send it to Robert Mann to help. This is just one of the machines he has.
The beauty of mechanization is also consistency.
Robert Mann's in Denver, right, Tom?
Denver, Colorado.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
So if this was going to be a real business for you to add on as a carpet cleaner, or even those who are experienced rug cleaners, there are occasions where you have something that you don't feel qualified for, but you know that because of your education, you could actually send it to them. And then you want to see a real high volume place? It's right in Detroit. I call them the Goliath in my backyard. So that just kind of gives you an idea there of that. I actually cut it short on you. I'm sorry.
Tom, you still with us? Tom? There you are. You're muted. You're muted. Tom, you're muted. There you
Boy,
go.
you think I'm a rookie at Zoom.
That's all right.
I just wanted to mention in summary, it's all about a decision to add revenue. That's what we started this discussion out with. You already have a source of a client base. You could convert that client base into a rug revenue cleaning operation. How high you take it is entirely up to you, but you should plan and be intentional about the steps, but first get educated. That's essential. And there's many opportunities for that to exist. We can talk about that if you want. Develop those knowledge about those.
Fantastic information, Tom. Thank you so much. Doug, our listeners are starting a GoFundMe page to get you some counseling so that you can get more enthusiastic about rugs. So they've started that on Facebook. GoFundMe to get. Thank you for that information. I did want to address a question that was asked to the two of you before we go back to the rest of the presentation, which is really talking about marketing rug cleaning. But that there was a question from the audience about cleaning viscose in-plant, especially if it's been contaminated with pet urine. So I'm going to let you guys address that. I figured we'd get a question on that because that's the hot topic of the day, and so give us your thoughts on that. So we are talking about in-plant cleaning there.
Well, again, if you're offering in-plant cleaning, then expect that to happen. I mean, you should have a skill set to take care of that. And yes, viscose can be successfully washed in plant with proper skill sets. Doug, you refer to textile pouch storage. It's not a strong fiber, so you got to understand that part of it. There's release responsibilities that once urine damage done, so you're going to have to get that damage out, and it's got to be reasonable on the part of the homeowner or the rug owner to understand what you will do. You have to clearly explain to them what you can do. Otherwise, it's an excuse later and not a reasonable explanation on the front end. And in terms of chemistry, I mean, everybody's got something cocktail that they'll put on there. But the thing is, use something that works. And then, of course, I have my favorites, but you got to flush it out, and you got to go through those 7 steps that we talked about, right from check-in to cleaning. Everybody thinks about washing, but there's some steps in between there.
Doug, anything to add?
Well, I think one of the real keys with viscose is realistic expectations. I mean, the carpet, if, you know, if the dog respectfully uses it as a bathroom and it's a repetitive situation, the rug may be damaged beyond cleaning and repair. And you would only know that if you had implant washing experience and a lot of education. So there's no easy answer to that. And without implant rug experience and coming to different classes, I suggest take as many classes from as many different people as possible, because everybody approaches viscose, like Tom said, with their own specialized cocktails and do special things. And we don't want to get involved with that this afternoon because we give you enough information to get you in trouble. So again, when you go to school and you wash viscose rugs and you come down to us and things, you'll get experience and you'll learn what to do, what not to do. And Tom has a good statement, you know, don't ski beyond the length of your skis. Remember you used to talk about that, Tom Monahan? You got to know your limitations, which I'm still learning.
Well, you know, I'm glad you said that, Doug, because that's one of the great things that I really appreciate about Tom. And he touched on this a little bit. I want to emphasize to our audience, so whether they're listening in live or whether they're watching this on recording, one of the things that he said over and over again, which is I want you to focus on for a minute, is you don't have to eat an elephant. You know, you can start off by simply doing the most simple rugs, synthetic rugs, machine woven rugs, and outsource everything else, the repairs, the natural rugs, and move into it. And I love, Tom, how you kind of gave them a progression, a point to start at, and a ultimate goal to pursue. And I think you don't give yourself enough credit. At least you're a humble enough guy that you've really been one of the innovators in advanced equipment while still recognizing that there's a place for starting, you know, having a starting point. And I think that's one of the reasons I wanted our audience to have a chance to kind of see, you know, if you're doing things on location, one of the things that I think people have a tendency to overlook is an upholstery tool like the DryMaster 3 on smaller area rugs. It's a great way to clean it safely, to flow a lot of water through it, but get it dry really fast. The subsurface extraction tools. So all these pictures that you're seeing on the screen, audience, if they're not available from HydroMaster, they're available from Tom's company, from Centrum Force. So it's one of the things I want to emphasize to you is that as we go through all this type of equipment, don't let it overwhelm you. There's a starting point and an ultimate goal. In fact, recently we had a gentleman purchase a truck mount to go, which is our mobile truck mount. He's using it to clean plants, to clean rugs in plant, except for when he has restoration jobs. Then he grabs it, forks it, puts it on a pickup truck and takes it to those jobs. So there's a lot of different ways to approach this. And as you look at some of the equipment and the wash pits versus the wash tubs, Tom's company, the rug sucking machine or the device that you can use to get started with to extract water. And then you get into all the big rug washers, which you talked about, Tom, and the different rug hanging equipment and the centrifuges, the rug wringers. So all the different stuff that's out there. And your company has either developed it or been the original importer from another country. You really run the gamut to help people understand what's out there. So I do want to focus on that for a minute as we finish with some step-by-step procedures and some marketing. One of the things that you guys touched on is, you know, what types of cleaning solutions are out there. And primarily, I think we need to focus on the different types, the different things that rugs are exposed to, on a heavier basis than, say, wall-to-wall carpet is. Just like when you clean upholstery, the first thing you have to do is understand that upholstery is soiled differently than carpet. The same thing with rugs. So what kinds of things are out there? So when you get into things like specialized pre-sprays that are specifically formulated for cleaning natural fabrics such as wool, and specialized pre-sprays that are used to go after the problematic synthetic rugs, the olefin and polyester content. And then rinsing. Most rug people prefer an acid rinse that does not have a detergent. Well, Hydromaster makes an acid rinse that does have a detergent called clear water rinse. In rug cleaning, most of our people that use an acid detergent prefer one without an acid rinse, prefer one without a detergent like Rinse Out. Fringe cleaning, there's different approaches to doing fringe cleaning. And then obviously when you get into the urine contamination and doing things like that. So what I wanted to let our audience know is obviously we don't have time to go step by step through all of the different procedures that are out there. So what we're going to do is, if you've attended today, we're going to send you this Oriental Rug Cleaning Procedures Guide that walks you step by step through cleaning, both on location and some suggestions for in-plant, understanding that when you're talking about in-plant cleaning, you've got to adjust to the type of equipment that the in-plant operation has. And I think Tom did a great job in his steps of talking to you about that. And then talking about some of the things as when to walk away or when to turn it over to other cleaners. So, and then obviously, just like it does with carpet, we know that 70% of US households have a dog or cat or both. That means that about 75% of the rugs that are out there do have dog or cat urine on them. So you're going to have to be able to know how to deal with that. So we've got step-by-step procedures for that. We wanted to close today, before I turn it over to Tom and Doug for a few parting comments, to talk a little bit about marketing. As those of you who've been listening in on these webinar series know, we've spent a lot of time on how to teach and market cleaning for health to your customers without a fear-based message. We're not big on that, and I think you can tell Doug isn't either and Tom isn't either. When we talk about COVID-19 and we talk about marketing to your customer, one of the things we don't want you to do is scare them. And the way we want you to teach respect, not fear. And the way to teach respect is to position yourself as the expert in knowing how to approach a cleaning job, whether it be a carpet cleaning job, a hard surface cleaning job, or as we've talked about today, a rug cleaning job. So the first thing that I always ask people when we talk about marketing is the first thing you need to do, just like Tom was talking to you about planning ahead for rug cleaning, if you're going to talk about marketing, the first thing you have to answer for me is what's the goal? What's the desired outcome of each marketing campaign that you do? And when I ask that question, it's like, well, duh, Doyle, to get more sales. That's not always the case. If you really think about it, most marketing is designed to get you permission to do more marketing. In other words, if you're going to let your customers know that you're going to do rug cleaning, the first time you tell them that, they're probably not going to immediately call and book a rug with you. What you are doing is planting the fact that you do rug cleaning, and that when they are ready to get their rugs clean, you're there to help them. And the other thing that we can get lost in terms of marketing is if we have a marketing message, then how do we deliver that marketing message? And if you look at all the different ways that there are out there in this day and age to market, what kinds of things do we know work when it comes to selling the cleaning for health message? And we know that existing customer communication, such as newsletter, email, your websites, postcards, every door direct mail programs, partnership and referral programs, social media, ads, videos, special offers, which obviously those videos that Tom showed you are specifically and ideally designed to present in social media. They're short, quick, to the point, but show things. So one of the things that we put together to help you get started with, as we've been doing on all of these, is a quick download of marketing materials that you can use to communicate to your customers. Because, you know, Tom and Doug and I were talking about yesterday when we were getting prepared for this, how many companies that are driving down the road with on the side of their van, it says we do rug cleaning. But when you go to their website or you look at their Facebook page, there's no specific reference to rugs. So what we said is, let's develop some things which help you do that. So we've put together a full page advertising, which is specifically talks about deep cleaning and removing unwanted matters. And this page you can download. But then we get into some other ads that we put together for you that talk about what we've been talking about for 2 months now without scaring people. Maintaining a healthy environment, and in the case of rugs, you're protecting an investment. So we started off today and we finished today with the fact that we know that rugs can harbor bacterial contaminants, but you are the right person to help them do that. Bacteria doesn't leave footprints, but you can get rid of that bacteria because you know how to deep clean and maintain a healthier environment and protect their investment. And then getting into the commercial side of things. Studies show that there are microbes likely living. Once again, healthier environment, protect your investment. And then this theme, have you overlooked something? We know that many commercial environments, this happens to be a dress store, a high-end dress store with trying on areas and everything. And they have, I think what that is, Doug, is probably a sisal rug on the floor there that you touched on. And it's, have you, in all this effort to clean the environment, to clean your commercial building, have you overlooked the rugs? Because studies show they may have even deep cleaned the floors and the walls. They probably hired somebody to come in with a fogger or an electrostatic sprayer and spray everything down with disinfectant. But if they overlook the rugs, then they haven't done everything they can do in that commercial environment. So it's maintaining a healthier environment and restoring confidence. So have you overlooked something as being a big part in the commercial environment? Now, what you're going to be able to download, they're not there yet, so don't run there yet, but we will send you the link so that you can download all these different ads to at least get the message out there in social media and your newsletters. If you want to develop, for those of you that have a graphic designer, you'll be able to load the original InDesign file down on this ad so that you can put your name and website and everything else on there. The rest of these are just downloadable as PDFs. If you have Acrobat Reader, you can do some changes to them. And then I wanted to just give you a couple of examples. Tom touched on this. He talked about Robert Mann. Up here in the Northwest, we have two really high-end rug companies that have great rug plants. Hammond Knoll has a great blog on their 5 shocking reasons why you should clean your area rug. You want to go to Hammond Knoll and take a look at that. And then right down the street from us, our good friends at D.A. Burns. D.A. Burns has a 12-truck on-location cleaning operation, but what they're known for is their rug plant. And if you ever get a chance to visit it, it's a great, I love this time for rug cleaning when dog meets rug. So they do a great job of selling the in-plant rug operation that's such an important part of that. So that's what we've talked about today, a whole bunch of things in our hour and a half together. Before we finish today, I wanted to turn it back over to my colleagues here for their final comments and how to get hold of them to get more information or learn more about their training. So Doug, you want to go first and tell our listeners how to get hold of you and how to follow up if they have further questions.
Yes, first of all, Doyle, thank you so much for everything you've done for me and my family over the years. When I reported to Doyle for many years, I've been with the same company for 27 years. He probably should have fired me 5 or 6 times, as you could see, but a great man, and I learned a lot from him about people. Tom Monahan, thank you so much. And anyone that wants to learn the rug business, I think kindness is important. I want to extend myself to people. My direct telephone number is 845-321-4825. I'd also like to thank all my students. Every one of my IICRC schools, my new online schools, have sold out. Thank you for the support over almost 30 years of coming to all the classes. And it's humbling, and I'm a blessed man. And I just want to make sure everyone knows that. And thank you for today's opportunity. Very exciting for me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Doug. Tom?
Again, I echo the same thoughts. I really appreciate the opportunity to come on, and nice working with both of you on this webinar. My phone number is 734-260-5038, and my email is tom@centrumforce.com. And I hope that that at least one takeaway would be today is just develop some knowledge about rugs along with that skill set to know the difference from offering a service that may be able to be done on location to one that should really be taken off-site to be done. And if it is your dream to develop an off-site operation, I can help you do that from soup to nuts, essentially. So we have, it's funny, in the old day, well, not too many years ago, people thought, well, we're just a big equipment company, but we're not. If you go to our website, centrumforce.com, we have everything we talked about, all the way up to a big Moore machine, and you can spend $350,000 on one piece of equipment, or we have things on our website that are under $100. So there we go. Thanks again, Doyle.
Thank you, Tom. Listen, I can't emphasize enough how much I appreciate you guys sharing your time today. I know that you're both very, very busy people, but when we were going through this series and I thought of rugs, I couldn't think of two better people to help communicate the message that HydroMaster wants to communicate out there, which is, the opportunity that is existing because of cleaning for health. And I want to thank you guys both. I also want to remind our listeners that you will get copies of all of the material today. So don't worry about the things that were said. We'll send you PDFs of the PowerPoint. We'll send you a link. And then obviously Tom and Doug may get in touch with you directly to share some information that they have. But if you haven't been to centrumforce.com yet, go and look and see all the different stuff. That's what I really loved about Tom, though, is that he wants to help people, whether they're operating in their driveway right now or whether they've got a big implant rug operation, and I appreciate that. So thank you both for joining us. I appreciate this opportunity to bring this information, and we wanted to tell all of our audience, we appreciate your time. We know that sitting and staring at a computer screen for 90 minutes is not an easy thing to do. That's why we love to get the energy of somebody like Doug on a webinar like this, because we know that his enthusiasm is infectious and it makes us all want to learn more. And I think that's maybe the biggest theme and the biggest takeaway from the day. So Tom, Doug, thank you very much. Appreciate you having you with us. And we look forward in July, you'll be getting information on this. We have a whole panel of people coming on to talk about a subject which I know is near and dear to Doug's heart too. We're going to talk about how to market your IICRC certification. So looking forward to that presentation, July 20th. We'll get you more information on that. Tom, Doug, thanks again. We'll see you down the road. Hopefully we'll run
Thank
into
you.
everybody in Vegas at the experience. See you then.
Great.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Goodbye.